Okay, welcome back. Now it's time to check the Synoptic view. The Synoptic view, it's a visual selector with some handy scripts or commands or tools for the animators. And I think the standard naming convention in Maya, it's the visual selector or something like that. Synoptic, it's coming from Softimage terminology, and I love so much Softimage, so we keep the Softimage terminology. So get used to Synoptic view. So first thing, you can have several characters. I have only one. It supports namespaces and without namespaces, but you should have or you should take care of one thing here, and it's the if you have your biped guide on the same scene, like no space name, because there is some here on the controllers. You have a duplicated controller here that it's handling the shape for the controllers at the generation time. So you can have some issues here, or like I don't know. Yeah, now it's working because it's taking this first. But sometimes you can have some errors. Just take care and just delete your guide when you use the Synoptic. That's all. So we have here the user interface host for each part of the character. Typical selection click boxes and circles. No so fancy up to here, but you can use shift to add and remove from the selection, and you can also rectangle drag, so you can have several selected at the same time. You have here these hands that have a little more information on the selection for the hands, like so you can select by rows or by fingers, and you can select hold left hand or right hand. The advice here is just take care with the rectangle selection, because this little button, it's gonna loop and select each of the fingers, and this is gonna loop and select this one here. So if you select like all this, let's do it like this. I'm sorry, it's gonna take a little, but you can see now it's taking a while because it's looping over and over, and it's slightly slow. I'm gonna try to improve it in the future, but just let you know that that's maybe a bottleneck here for the selection, but not so bad. So that's all for the selection. Nothing, no magic voodoo behind anything. And again, this is the default tabs created by for this default character, but you can create your own using a Qt designer, and we'll do a video covering that part. It's not so difficult. Even people without knowledge of programming, they can do it. It's just very mechanical and repetition. So that's it. Let's see what we have on the bottom part buttons. So we have select all. Yeah, that's cool. We have a mirror pose and flip pose. Yeah, I almost forget that. So let's say I'm just gonna reset everything, and just for one thing it's not handling, it's the user interface custom properties, so you need to take care of that. So I'm just gonna put back my IK here, and just gonna put this leg here. So flip, it's gonna flip your position, and it's gonna flip it with multiple selections. So I'm just gonna put this hand here. Let me put this also. Okay, so I have my IK hand here, my knee and my foot, and flip. So I can do my wall cycle really fast. Flip, 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 flip. No, it's not true. You need time for do it, but at least it's gonna help. And you have the mirror pose. The mirror pose is just gonna mirror out instead of flip. But if you want to use it only for one object at a time, and you don't have it even selected, you can come here and use the medium click and the right click. So you can bypass these two buttons one by one here. It's up to you how to use it. And again, if it's the central part, like hip, for example, it's just gonna do, I think it's this one. Yeah, wamba buluba bulam bambu. It's Elvis now. I'm sorry, that's bad joke. Sorry, too many videos record. Okay, so we have K selected, K all, and reset to bind pose and reset selection transform. So what's the difference between bind pose and selection transform? Well, the thing is mainly almost all the controls, it's no big difference, but some controls you will find that it's not the same, the bind reset position and the reset transfer position. And the reason, because it's not like always like the same, is because the the curves in the graph editor, you want to keep some clean axis in some spaces. So for example, here the reset bind pose, you have your IK hand position with the Y pointing this direction. But if you want to check here on the axis and check the parent, it's the vertical Y, that it's indeed the real representation of your graph editor. So if you reset the transformation here, this is gonna be flat. So you can see here, this is the bind and this is the reset transformation. So that's the difference. In other objects, it's not big difference, one of the other, but it depends. So you always can track your binding pose or your reset transformation. And again, it works on multiple selections. Okay, last but not least, we have the this A, B, C, D, E, F. What the hell is that? Okay, this is the quick selection menu. So let's say you animating always this, and this control, and you want to, for any reason, select, like I'm gonna save some keys and keys here. So you want to select this to edit this keyframe. So you just need to come here and medium click. So when I deselect and I left click now, it's gonna remember the quick selection. Again, if you put too many objects, it's gonna be like when you select rectangle selection here, it's gonna take a little, but it's gonna remember everything. And this is just for the sake of the explanation. If we check here the rig attributes, you go here and you have the quick selection here, so you can see what is in each store. And with the right with the right click, just you can let's say add here. So now with a medium click, I should, you know what, sorry for that, I'm just gonna copy the tab. So oh great, where's my tab? Damn it, it's outside my screen. Okay, anyway, let's continue. So basically you can add and remove some of the objects. So let's say I have this now, just right click, and what you have here, it's the option to keyframe. So for example, I'm not explaining this correctly. So medium click, it's to add or edit. So you can change your quick selection. So left click, it's gonna reselect your objects, but right click, it's gonna save keyframe for your objects on this quick selection. So you can create like quick keys sets or something. I don't know how to name that, but yeah, that's I think it's a more clear explanation here, and I hope it makes sense for you and help you to animate, or help your animators to animate quickly, or if you are an animator using mGear, to animate quickly. And that's all for the Synoptics. Thank you again for listening, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.